Hello and welcome to the Conceptual Codon. In this video, we will discuss about some clinical MCQs on gastric carcinoma. Let's look at the first MCQ. The first MCQ states an adult presented with hematemesis and upper abdominal pain. Endoscopy was done and endoscopy revealed the growth at the pyloric antrum of the stomach. CT scan showed the growth involving the pyloric antrum but without any infiltration or invasion into the surrounding structures, and there was no evidence of distant metastasis. But at laparotomy, the neoplastic growth was observed to involve the posterior wall of the stomach and the pancreas, extending 6 cm up to the tail of the pancreas. Now the question is, what will be the most appropriate surgical management? Now we know in case of a cancer stomach, where there is involvement of the pyloric antrum, the standard treatment is partial or subtotal gastrectomy with gastrojejunostomy and jejunojejunostomy. That is the Roux-en-Y operation. But here it is clearly stated that the cancer has involved the pancreas, extending 6 cm up to the tail of the pancreas. So it is a clear indication of distal pancreatectomy. So partial gastrectomy plus distal pancreatectomy, it is the answer here. This is the right answer. Partial gastrectomy plus distal pancreatectomy. Now, why splenectomy is not done in this case? There are some clear indications of splenectomy in case of gastric carcinoma. Splenectomy does not provide any additional advantage over the conventional treatment, but splenectomy should be done if there is intraoperative definitive evidence that the cancer cells from carcinoma stomach have invaded the spleen, then splenectomy will be done. But here the spleen is not invaded with the cancer cells, so splenectomy will not be done. So the answer will be partial gastrectomy plus distal pancreatectomy. Let's see the second question. The second question says, a 67-year-old woman complains of paresthesias in the limbs. Examination shows there is a loss of vibratory sense, positional sense, and sense of light touch in the lower limbs. So there is some sensory neurological deficit. She is found to have pernicious anemia. Endoscopy reveals an ulcer in the body of the stomach. Now, what is the diagnosis here? Now, it is clearly stated here that she has a pernicious anemia. And pernicious anemia leads to vitamin B12 deficiency. And vitamin B12 deficiency leads to some neurological symptoms due to subacute degeneration of dorsal and the lateral spinal columns. That explains the loss of vibratory sense and the other neurological symptoms in this case. Now, pernicious anemia is also associated with achalaurhydria, and that predisposes the patient to development of gastric carcinoma. There is an increased risk of development of gastric carcinoma in a patient of pernicious anemia to about 5%. So here the diagnosis will be carcinoma stomach. So the option C will be the right answer, cancer of the stomach due to pernicious anemia. Pernicious anemia is an important risk factor for cancer of the stomach. Coming to the third MCQ. A 35-year-old teacher has a family history of gastric cancer. So it is a case of familial gastric cancer. Now she has an upper endoscopy performed for epigastric symptoms. The endoscopy is negative. But the patient asks her endoscopist out of curiosity if there are any conditions that predispose to gastric carcinoma. Now he provides her with the following answer. Which is the answer? The answer here will be the option B, that is autoimmune metaplastic atrophic gastritis. Autoimmune metaplastic atrophic gastritis is an autosomal dominant disorder, and there is antibody formation against the parietal cell that leads to a state of achalaurhydria or hypochlorhydria. and that predisposes the patient to gastric carcinoma. There is a threefold increased relative risk of developing gastric carcinoma in these patients. So the answer will be autoimmune metaplastic atrophic gastritis or AMEG. This is an important condition that is associated with familial type of gastric cancer. Let's move on to the next question. A 70-year-old woman complains of abdominal discomfort, anorexia, and a weight loss. Endoscopy reveals a polypoid lesion in the antrum. The lesion is biopsied and the patient is informed that she has early gastric cancer. Why? Early gastric cancer means involvement only mucosa or submucosa, with or without involvement of the lymph nodes. So, in the first option itself, we see it involves only the mucosa and does not invade the muscular wall of the stomach. So, there is no involvement of the muscularis mucosa. There is involvement of only mucosa, submucosa. So, it is early gastric cancer. Now, the treatment of early gastric cancer can be, in selected cases, there can be endoscopic mucosal resection, that is EMR, endoscopic mucosal resection can be done. But in most of the cases, the option for surgical treatment is subtotal gastrectomy. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 5. A 60-year-old man has been complaining of vague symptoms of upper abdominal discomfort, early satiety, and fatigue. He is referred to a gastroenterologist who performs an upper GI endoscopy. Though a discrete mass is not visualized, there is no discrete mass, the stomach looks abnormal and it does not distend easily with insufflation. And the biopsy shows signet ring cells. So from the signet ring cells part, we can anticipate the diagnosis. Signet ring cells is seen in which type of gastric carcinoma? It is seen in case of Linitis plastica. And also there is another clue, the stomach does not distend easily with insufflation. So there is involvement of the walls of the stomach with infiltration of the malignant cells, and there is no discrete mass. These three clues points towards the diagnosis of Linitis plastica. Now let's look at the options. The first option says signet ring cells are typically found in intestinal type of gastric adenocarcinoma. No, it is found in Linitis plastica. Second option, signet ring cell is the most common type of gastric cancer. It is also not right. The most common type of gastric cancer is adenocarcinoma. And the option 3, leather bottle stomach is a term used to describe a non-distensible stomach infiltrated by cancer. Now this is absolutely right. So this is the right answer. Linitis plastica, where there is involvement of the stomach walls with infiltration by the malignant cells. This condition is also called leather bottle stomach. So this is the right answer. Question number 6. A 75-year-old man is admitted with epigastric pain, anemia, and weight loss. On upper GI endoscopy, a large ulcer is found on the distal antrum. The biopsy report shows adenocarcinoma of the stomach. CAT scan of the liver shows no metastasis. Now, what is the recommended treatment? Again, this is a classical case of gastric carcinoma, and the treatment should be subtotal gastrectomy. There is another option of vagotomy plus antrectomy, but it has been seen that vagotomy does not provide any additional advantage in case of treatment of gastric carcinoma, because in gastric carcinoma cases there is already a state of hypochlorhydria or achlorhydria. So vagotomy does not provide any other advantage. Whipple's procedure or pancreaticoduodenectomy is done in case of pancreatic carcinoma, and total gastrectomy is usually done in case of gastric carcinoma in the body of the stomach. But here the carcinoma is in the distal antrum. So in the distal antrum, the treatment is subtotal gastrectomy. This is the right option here. Let's look at the next question. Question number 7. An elderly patient who delayed seeking medical attention for his early satiety. So he neglected his symptoms and he presented late. Then he underwent upper GI endoscopy and a large mass was seen in the stomach. Which statement is true? Now let's look at the options. The first option says during resection it is safe to leave cancer at the cartilages. So it is not safe to leave cancer at the cartilages because it can lead to recurrences. So it is always tried to do a R0 resection. Now the resections can be divided as R0 resection, there is no residual disease. R1 resection, microscopic residual disease. R2 resection, macroscopic residual disease. And R3 resection, that is irresectable. So we should always try to do a R0 resection. Next option, the incidence is increased in patients with gastric ulcer disease. Now this is absolutely right. This is the right option. There is increased chance of gastric carcinoma with gastric ulcer disease. Other options, draining lymph nodes should not be removed. But draining lymph nodes are removed in case of gastric carcinoma surgery. Usually D2 gastrectomy is done. It is caused by hyperchlorhydria. No, it is also not correct. Carcinoma stomach is associated with achlorhydria or hypochlorhydria. So option B is right. Next, number 8. It has 5 parts. A 48-year-old man with severe vomiting as a result of gastric outlet obstruction. So the diagnosis is given here, gastric outlet obstruction, is admitted to the hospital and there is marked dehydration with urine output 20 ml per hour and the hematocrit is 48%. Now, some causes of gastric outlet obstruction are, it can be due to gastric carcinoma or it can be due to pyloric stenosis or it can be due to gastric ulcers. Now, the first question is, clinical confirmation of pyloric obstruction is most readily established by which of the following? Now, the clinical confirmation is done by succussion splash. This is the right answer. Succussion splash. It is clinically confirmed by succussion splash. Second part of the question. What is the predominant metabolic abnormality? In case of gastric outlet obstruction, there is vomiting. And due to vomiting, there is loss of H plus ion, K plus ion and Cl minus ion. So there is a state of hypokalemic, hypochloremic metabolic alkalosis. So the option matches is hypochloremic alkalosis. Now interestingly, there is a paradoxical aciduria. Why? Because there is a state of metabolic alkalosis and the kidney tries to compensate by excreting HCO3 minus, that is bicarbonate ions and sodium ions. But due to hyperaldosteronism, the sodium is reabsorbed. The sodium is reabsorbed in expense of H plus and K plus. So H plus and K plus are removed via urine. So there is a paradoxical aciduria in case of gastric outlet obstruction. Moving to the next question. Initial treatment for this patient should include which of the following? Now the answer to this question will be Ringer lactate solution. There is another option, that is saline fluid replacement with appropriate potassium administration. You should always remember that the dehydration component and the dyselectrolemia component should be treated first before giving potassium administration. So Ringer lactate solution is the initial treatment. Next question. Severe hypochloremic metabolic alkalosis fails to respond to standard therapy. So the standard therapy is giving Ringer lactate solution to treat the dehydration component, dyselectrolemia component, and giving potassium infusion. Before infusing the potassium, as mentioned earlier, the dehydration, dyselectrolemia component should be treated and the urine output should be normal. But this question says the standard treatment failed. Now his metabolic abnormality can be corrected by infusing which of the following? Now it has been seen that in cases of refractory metabolic alkalosis in gastric outlet obstruction where the standard therapy failed, treatment with 0.1 normal or 0.2 normal hydrochloric acid has shown some benefit. So here the correct option will be 0.1 normal hydrochloric acid. The last part of this question. In the absence of malignancy, further treatment after appropriate resuscitation should include. Now, one of the most common causes of gastric outlet obstruction is malignancy, carcinoma stomach. But in the question, it is clearly said that absence of malignancy. So, the cause is mainly gastric ulcer. He is asking about gastric ulcer. The treatment will be vagotomy and drainage. But it is controversial. There may be alternative procedures that have been proven as efficacious as this, like Billroth 2 surgery, etc. Moving on to the next question. Kelly, a 60 years old male, diagnosed to have carcinoma stomach. CT scan of abdomen showed a mass measuring 4 into 4 centimeter in the antrum. So it is in the distal stomach with involvement of the celiac nodes and the right gastric nodes. Management of choice. The management of choice will be subtotal gastrectomy because the carcinoma is in the antrum, in the distal stomach. So here partial gastrectomy or subtotal gastrectomy is done. But in case of carcinoma in the body, total gastrectomy is done. Coming to the last question of today's discussion. A 35-year-old man undergoes gastrectomy for gastric carcinoma. Gross specimen of resected stomach shows diffuse thickening with no mass lesion. Histopathology shows again signet ring cells dispersed. As discussed in one of the earlier questions, signet ring cells means Linitis plastica. Now his father had a similar cancer at a young age. So the question is talking about a familial gastric carcinoma and a Linitis plastica. The genes involved, one of the most common genes involved in familial gastric carcinoma is CDH1. So this is the answer to this question. That ends today's video of 10 tricky or clinical MCQ discussions about carcinoma stomach. Do like, share and subscribe to our channel for more clinical MCQ discussions like this.